What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel. Now before we get started with today's video, the road to 200 subs has now come to a close, and we are now 183 subs away from hitting 500 subs. And if you guys are new to the channel, and I know that a lot of you guys are, because practically 100% of you guys are watching the content, but you guys are not even subscribed. So if you guys are watching the content, you like the content, and you want more of the content, but you guys have not subscribed as of yet, then be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, smash that thumbs up button on this video, and as always, make sure you guys are following me on all my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And I want you guys to post in the comments below answering the question of the day, which is this. I'm on the card as it sits now. What are your guys' predictions for NXT Battleground? Let me know down in the comments below. And I gotta be really quick about this video because I've been sick for the last couple days now. Stuffy nose, runny nose, sore throat. I literally had to use like 3 or 4 cough drops just to try and get through with this video. So I gotta be super quick about it and try and rest my voice a little bit. So I apologize if my voice is a bit darker than normal, and I also apologize if I have to pause every couple minutes or so to try and catch my breath and let my voice rest a little bit. So I do apologize, but let us go on with my predictions for NXT Battleground. And we kick things off with a 6-man tag that was announced last night on NXT, as the team of Josh Briggs and the NXT Tag Team Champions Hank and Tank will do battle with the Culling, which actually kind of started, which it kind of started about a couple weeks ago when Yoshiki Inamura left NXT to go back to Pro Wrestling Noah, which was his domain, if you will, and Sean Spears came up to, or actually, sorry, Brooks Jensen had came up to Briggs and was like, "This has always been the MO. Briggs is always the guy holding his teammates back." That escalated to last night when Briggs challenged Sean Spears, and right as Spears won the match, Briggs attempted to attack Spears, but got thwarted by the rest of the Culling. And then obviously the tag team champions showed up to help Briggs fend off against the Culling. And at this point, as much as I want to see Briggs and the tag champs win, I think the numbers game is gonna catch up to them because of the fact that Spears has Izzy Dame in his corner, and I have no doubt in my mind that numbers game is what's gonna help the Culling win, and perhaps maybe even pin the NXT Tag Team Champions. So it's possible. Yeah, guys. Sorry, stuffy nose. You guys already know. I'll be right back. Give me 1 second. I need to fix that. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Alright, you guys. I am back. Sorry about that. I actually had to grab this. And what this is, it's a liquid that you put right here under your nose, your nostrils right here, and it pretty much just opens up your nose just a little bit, and it works, but only for a brief moment. Plus, I also had to get my boba. So, shout outs to this spot called A Teeth Thing in Reseda, California. I actually went and grabbed this as I was getting my family some dinner. This is a lychee lemon smash black iced tea with some lychee jelly. Basically, it's basically half and half, so to speak. Iced tea, iced tea lemonade. All you guys already know. I'm about to try this out really quickly, just to. It's not bad. It's not bad. There's a bit of lemon. You guys could probably tell. There's like there's some lemons. Oh, here we are. Here we are. There's some lemons right here as well, which is pretty cool. It's not bad. It's not bad, but I think the only way that it could be a true like lemon smash is if it was just iced tea with like lemon and like the lemon was just like muddled into the tea. Anyway, moving on. Where were we? Oh, right. The six man tag. At this point, we know that the numbers game will definitely catch up to Briggs and the tag team champions. So my money is going to be on the calling. Plus, if Jensen and Nico Vance end up pinning the NXT tag team champions, then they'll be next in line for a shot at the NXT tag team titles. Speaking of announced matches, next up we have a match that was made official last night on NXT between Sol Ruca and Kalani Jordan for the NXT Women's North American title. This is actually a rivalry that goes back to last year. I believe, if I remember right. This goes all the way back to Heat Wave last year. Literally right around this time last year when Kalani Jordan was the Women's North American Champion and Sol Ruca was the challenger. Kalani Jordan picked up a massive victory over Sol Ruca, and now this is basically a rematch for the very same title from Heat Wave last year. Interestingly enough, this is something that has been eating Kalani Jordan up for a very long time. Ever since Fallon Henley took the Women's North American title off of Kalani Jordan, Kalani has just been on a rampage, just completely changed her. That title, losing it changed her as a person, and it's something that no one expected. Nobody expected her to end up with the attitude that she has now. And last night we saw Zarya lose to Kalani Jordan in the dumbest way possible. Obviously, incidental contact between Sol Ruca and Zarya, as Zarya accidentally speared Sol through the second rope. Obviously, landed onto the floor. Kalani rolled up Zarya to pick up the victory, and now she has the title opportunity. Honestly, you have to look at this from the perspective of what happened last year at Heatwave. Sol Ruca came this close from pinning Kalani Jordan. There were so many times at in that match last year, where Sol Ruka had the match won, but Kalani was just always one step ahead. Now the shoe is on the other foot. Sol Ruka is the champion, and Kalani Jordan is going into this match as the challenger. The way I see it, this would be poetic justice if Sol Ruka ends up defeating Kalani Jordan and retains the title the same way that Kalani Jordan retained the title against Sol last year at Heatwave. But obviously for Sol Ruka, the numbers game will be in her favor because of the fact that she has Zarya. But even Zarya knows that Sol Ruka doesn't want to win that way. She wants to retain the title on her own merit. And the way I see it, I feel like if Sol Ruka wins, they'll be even, one apiece. The rubber match happens within a month or two after Battleground. And whoever wins, plain and simple. So the way I see it, it comes down to who wants it more, and this is Sol Ruka's, I believe, her second or third. I think her second title defense. And she knows that the more championship defenses you have, the more title defenses you have, the more trickier it becomes when the more trickier it is to obtain victory. And even Kalani Jordan knows that, because she had at least 7, 8, I want to say almost 10 title defenses on, not just on TV, but also as live events as well. So Sol Ruka is going to have one tough time on her hands, but it's still pretty early in Sol's reign as champion. So I think Sol Ruka is probably going to take this one, in my opinion. Next up is a match that I did not expect to see. Nobody expected this to ever take place, but here we are. Tony D'Angelo and Stax. And this all started right around the time that Dark State had shown up. When Dark State showed up, the D'Angelo family banded together in an attempt to fend off Dark State, and it escalated a bit further at Stand and Deliver last month, when Stax kicked Tony D'Angelo low and cost the family the match against Dark State. Now, Luca Crucifino is missing. Rizzo is missing from the safe house. And Tony D'Angelo doesn't have a whole lot of people to turn to. So now it comes to this. One-on-one, the Don and the Underboss. this is by far the craziest thing ever, because we know that, obviously we all know we've been there, we've been there before. Family members fight, excuse me, all the damn time. We all know, we've been there, excuse me. We know, been there, done that. We know the song and dance. But this goes way deeper than that. It goes way deeper than what we had expected, because this all had to do with the fact that Stax had a plan in mind. He had a play, but it was not executed, and he believed that if the family went with his plan, then Dark State would have lost at Stand and Deliver. At least in Stax's mind. The way I see it, I think Stax is trying, he wants to be the Don of, he wants to be the Don, but he doesn't have the tools to be the Don. Kind of, he doesn't have all the tools that Tony D'Angelo has to be the Don of NXT. And to those who are new to this channel, or to those who are new to watching WWE and do not know, Tony D'Angelo became the Don of NXT a few years ago by defeating Tommaso Ciampa. Ironically enough, at Stand and Deliver in Dallas, Texas, actually, if my memory serves right. I believe that I am right, because I still have my old book here, so I believe that was the case. Let's see. Let's see. Crown Jewel. Yep, I was right. Tony D'Angelo defeated Tommaso Ciampa with a vicious kick to the face, picking up the victory, thus obviously becoming the Don of NXT. It's weird because Tony D'Angelo has had a lot of success in NXT, obviously being a former Heritage Cup champion, a former North American champion, a former two-time NXT Tag Team champion, obviously with Stax, which was huge. He's had a lot of success. He's even competed for the NXT title a few times in his career in NXT, which buys into the question. Is it time for the Don to get called up to the main roster? And honestly, I think it is. I think this is going to be the match that will send Tony off to the main roster, which will give basically Stax the title of the Don of NXT. But even if it were to be the case, right? Even if this was the match that would send Tony to the main roster, he ain't getting called up to the main roster without keeping his Donship, if you will. And I have no doubt in my mind that Tony is gonna fight like hell. So, as far as who I think is gonna win, as much as I want to see Stax like shine in NXT, as much as I want to see him showcase what he's capable of as a singles competitor, he still has a lot of learning to do. So my money is definitely on Tony D'Angelo. Next up is history in the making. This has never happened before in professional wrestling in WWE, and it's going to happen. For the first time ever, the TNA World title, the TNA World Heavyweight title will be defended on WWE soil. The current champion Joe Hendry and the challenger Trick Williams. And this whole thing with Joe and Trick started when Obafemi became NXT champion by pinning the champion, which at that time was Trick Williams. Interestingly enough, sorry guys, I'm like trying to pause my voice here a little bit. Interestingly enough, the moment Trick lost the NXT title, everything went downhill. He started to crash out, literally costing WWE hundreds of thousands of dollars in camera equipment, electrical circuit break, circuitry, and basically WWE property, literally costing WWE hundreds of thousands. Damn near breaking cameras. He was crashing out big time, and yes, he did get multiple opportunities at the NXT title. They were never one-on-one. And Joe Hendry, on the NXT after WrestleMania, he showed up back to NXT and Joe Hendry literally called Trick called him an entitled bitch. A spoiled bitch, if you will. And in a way, I feel like Joe Hendry is right. Trick has kept bitching and moaning, taking claim to the NXT title, but Obafemi was like, "Hey, I'm done. I'm done with you. I gave you your rematch. What do you want more?" And so this led to Trick Williams crossing the line, if you will, going over to TNA and attacking the TNA World Champion, which has led to them beating the holy hell out of each other multiple times. Obviously, Trick Williams being costed the opportunity of the NXT title in that battle royal at the hands of Joe Hendry, and this led to both Ava and Santino Marella making the decision of this match taking place. I never would have imagined that this would happen. Now, interestingly enough, this we know that the TNA X Division Championship was defended earlier this year on NXT in, I believe it was in Cleveland, or I think in Cincinnati, against Cincinnati's own Lexis King, which was huge. Moose dominated that match with an iron fist, which led to Moose challenging Oba for the NXT title at Roadblock in Madison Square Garden, which was where we crowned the first ever winners, the season 1 winners, if you will, of WWE LFG. So shout outs to both Jasper Troy and Tyra May Steele on winning, and of course shout outs to The Undertaker on winning the first season of LFG. Winning the LFG championship, which literally is the WWE title, but it just has the LFG logo on the corner of the front plate, which is kind of dumb, but it is what it is. But this is huge because this is the first time that the TNA World Title has been defended on WWE soil. And we all figured that when Joe Hendry showed up at WrestleMania, we all thought that Joe Hendry was going to defend the title against Randy Orton, which obviously was not the case. The way I see it, this is a match that Joe Hendry needs to win. If he doesn't win, there's no telling what kind of damage Trick Williams will cause in TNA. And there's no telling what kind of damage he'll cause on NXT. So as far as who I think is going to win, as much as I want to see Trick Williams become champion again, I think his time in NXT is up. My opinion, it has to be Joe Hendry. And there have been rumors that we're expected to have a WWE draft sometime in the next month and a half or so. So it's supposed to happen right before SummerSlam, which will be in MetLife Stadium, which is going to be very interesting to say the very least. Excuse me. Next up is the NXT Women's title between Stephanie Vaquer and Jordynne Grace. Two women who have traveled the world, dominated every promotion that they were a part of, won championships everywhere they've gone, and it basically leads up to this. Obviously, both Grace and Vaquer have a lot of respect for one another. They teamed up with one another on multiple occasions, and now they're going at it as rivals over the NXT Women's title, a title that has a lot of rich history. Women like Paige, Shayna Baszler, Mandy Rose, Roxanne Perez, Charlotte Flair, Io Sky, Bayley, Becky Lynch, Tiffany Stratton, Sasha Banks, Bayley I mentioned, Charlotte Flair I mentioned. Who else? Who else can I name? Rhea Ripley, Raquel Rodriguez. To Julia, who's now a part of SmackDown, Roxanne Perez, who's now a part of Monday Night Raw, Kairi Sane, who we saw this past Monday on Raw, make her triumphant return to WWE after the arm injury that she suffered at the hands of Zoe Stark. Which shout outs to Zoe Stark, obviously wishing her a speedy recovery after what happened on Raw. There's a lot of history with that NXT Women's title, and Stephanie Vaquer wants to continue that history by being a dominant champion. But so does Jordynne Grace. Who wants it more? It's obviously Jordynne Grace, but it comes down to who is going to pick up that victory, and at this point, it could be anybody. But if you think about it. If you really think about it, they both want to take the NXT Women's division and elevate it to heights no one saw coming. That's what they want to do. But in order to do that, they need to become NXT Women's Champion. Stephanie Vaquer has the title. Jordynne Grace wants it. Who wants it more? They both do. But it comes down to the one major X factor. Who's getting involved? We know that Fatal Influence has their eyes on the NXT Women's title. We know that Lola Vice has her eyes on the NXT Women's title. There's a lot of people who have their eyes on the title. But it comes down to whether or not there will be outside interference. And honestly, if this becomes an instant classic, which I know it will, this match can go either way. But I think we may end up seeing Stephanie Vaquer retain her title. Which brings us to the main event. Obafemi, Miles Bourne. You heard me right. Miles Bourne wins a Battle Royal. Wins the Battle Royal that Trick Williams was a part of. And becomes the #1 contender. Last week on NXT, he puts up his #1 contender spot on the line against Ethan Page and wins it. And now he has the biggest test of his career against Obafemi. This is massive because this is a huge opportunity for Miles Bourne to bring the NXT title to the No Quarter Catch crew. And it's weird because with the NQCC, it was always, they always went by their own rules, meaning whoever, meaning when it came to a championship, especially the Heritage Cup, any one member could defend the NXT was able to defend the Heritage Cup. And Charlie Dempsey has thought, oh, Miles Bourne won the Battle Royal. That means I'm gonna get that title shot. Nope. Obafemi was like, nope, Miles, you won. You're getting that title shot. Which again leads to tonight. Sorry, to this Sunday. We saw last night that we saw Jasper Troy, make an impact by attacking Obafemi, staking claim to the NXT title. Miles Bourne is already the #1 contender. So it doesn't matter who wins. Either way, Jasper Troy will be seen on the other side, patiently waiting for that title. Who is gonna win? Crazy as it sounds, it's gonna be Obafemi. Why? I feel like Miles Bourne isn't ready to be NXT champion. But if he does win, I will be very, very surprised. But I will say that Battleground this Sunday is going to be very historic. Because not just because of the fact that the TNA title is being defended on WWE soil, but also because of the fact that it's families being split apart, grudges coming to pass. All hell is gonna all hell is gonna break loose this Sunday, and I cannot wait. And on that will do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. And if you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more PLE predictions and results in the future, then be sure to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and of course, follow me on all of my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.